Yo, let's go. So this is my first ADC tier list, and I know it's kind of late. It's 2021 and the last patch, so basically patch 11.21. But I mean, I had a whole year to kind of get the feeling which ADCs are good and which ones aren't. So let's just start with myself first. My name is Blend B, and I play on the Europe West server, and I've been playing ADC for a lot of seasons now, but I never kind of got the time or the energy to fully grind. But I love playing a lot of games and spam ranks, and I always play ADC solo queue, so I'm a little sick in my head, I guess, but it's alright. And yeah, everybody plays different champions and everybody has different play styles, but this guide is meant for people that are looking to play solo queue like me and that like champions that can take the game in their own hands. So let's just start off with, whoa, what a surprise, my favorite champion in the game, and in my opinion the best ADC to take over a game, Vayne. So Vayne has been good for the last few patches, honestly, and there are multiple reasons for that. So first of all, throughout the seasons, people realized that you don't need to buy Kraken Slayer on Vayne to be effective. And let me explain it in a very short manner to you. ADC is about uptime. So uptime means how long am I alive and how much damage can I put out while I'm alive. So if I'm alive with Kraken Slayer and I get out free autos, it's gonna be obviously more damage than when I'm alive and I get out free autos with the Immortal Shield Bow, right? But with the burst we have in a game, it can happen that you're gonna get one shot, and getting two autos out with Kraken Slayer is basically the same damage as two autos with Immortal Shield Bow, assuming we get one shot after two autos. However, with Shield Bow, we are way tankier and we can make more mistakes. And solo queue is about mistakes, honestly. We make them and the enemies make them too. So it's about capitalizing on the mistakes of others while minimizing our mistakes, and having Shield Bow helps us minimize mistakes. So we go Shield Bow on Vayne, and the second item really depends. If you're in a matchup against heavy AP, you go Wit's End. Your damage kinda lowers itself compared to the PD second, which is the crit route. But honestly, third item kind of evens it out again, because you need to go for the Guinsoo's Rage Blade. In my opinion, it's a must-have. It increases your damage by a margin that is not even describable. The feeling of it is different, especially against tanks. That item makes such a difference, and also against squishies. The inconsistent W procs that this item provides you makes it hard to calculate damage, not only for yourself, but you get the feeling of that the more you play, but for the enemies. They don't know what's coming. So Vayne, amazing at the moment, especially because of top dominance. Top laners like Camille, Fiora, like these heavy like ADC killers that can carry a game, you are the counter to them. So with Vayne, you can take the game in your own hands against fed enemies, and that's what ADC and solo queue is about. You need to be able to win a game by yourself against fed enemies. On top of that, Vayne is really good with most meta supports right now, and especially enchanters like Nami, who got a lot of buffs and are profiting from Mandate, and Lulu as well. With those two champs, you can go off and your laning should be safe. What you need to be careful about is a lane dominant champion like Lucian or Draven. They can kind of bully you around, but as long as you come out even, it should be really good. And even if you're behind, you still have the chance to scale up with items and take over a team fight with your invisibility, dodging, and playmaking ability. Okay, so let's come to the second S tier champion in here. I think most people would agree that Misfortune is kind of strong right now. There is not much to say other than the build paths, I guess. You can adjust your build paths. If they're more tanky, you go for the Kraken Slayer build path with the press the attack rune setup. If there are a lot of squishies, you can go for the lethality build path with the Ghost Blade and Eclipse, and opt for the Comet I mean, it depends on the enemies and playstyle, but I would prefer going Kraken for more consistent damage, and lining up your ultimate in big team fights is what this champion is about. And of course, hitting the double ups in lane. If you can consistently chunk out enemies with your Q in lane, it's very hard for them to engage or hold pressure in the lane. So you profit from your lane dominance as well as your crazy ultimate. And the main problem I personally have with MF is the low mobility. So against heavy one-shot champions and high mobility champions, it's really hard to play MF. But it's possible as long as you're good at positioning and have a good feeling of the champions. MF is pretty nice right now. Okay, so these two champions, if you have the possibility to swap around them, as I said, like against low mobility and teamfight oriented games like that, you should pick MF. And against these carry type like Camille, Fiora's, tanky champions, against that you should pick Vayne. These two champions and you're set. But let's continue with the A tier of this tier list. These champions are still really, really good. And especially the first one on here is Lucian. If you can pick Lucian with Nami or Lulu, man, it's free. Like legit, it's free. Nobody can mess with you. This champion profits a lot from the Nami buffs and from the Lulu buffs. I mean, they are pretty far back now, but still, the synergy that he got with his new passive with these champions, wow, it's crazy. The crit setup with the, what is it called again? Cyrilda's Grudge. You can opt out of the Cyrilda's Grudge first. Most people would go Kraken or Gale Force and then into Sense Reaver, and then they decide Cyrilda's or IE. You can adjust that. If they're tanky, you go for the Cyrilda's build, and if they're more on the squishier side, you go for IE, and your ulti slaps. It's crazy. This champion, as I said, with Nami, must play. Okay, let's come to the only AP champion on this list, which is Ziggs. I think a lot has been said about this guy. Honestly, you free farm, you wave clear, and you make the enemy not participate with you. That's what Ziggs is about. Also, you have a very nice semi-global ultimate with which you can influence team fights from pretty much everywhere on the map where it's important. So Drake fights are easily contestable with your ultimate, and even walking up towards mid lane to contest heralds is really nice with this champion. Just be sure to not get engaged on early on in the lane, and throughout levels 1 to 6, don't die, be safe. You have TP, so you can TP back when you get chunked. And once you got your Liandry's Torment, this champion wave clears like no other, and you can stall out games so long even when behind. And the more you get used to this playstyle, the more you can actually like catch out enemies with your W and make plays. But you don't need to. This champion is wave clear, hit turrets, wave clear, hit turrets, wave clear, and hit turrets. But it's fun. Honestly, it's fun. Well, the next champion on here is Jhin. So Jhin overall is just maybe one of the best constructed ADCs right ever released, I think. Like the 4-shot passive, it's just satisfying, and you provide so much utility with your W and ulti that even when you're behind and your team is doing well, you will be useful as hell. Compared to when you're behind on Vayne, for example, and your team is doing well, honestly, you're just a bot for the enemies and you just distract them. But with Jhin, you can follow up. With ulti, you can finish people with your 4-shot. This guy is amazing for a more laid back and assisted like playstyle. I would recommend him like with teams that have a lot of damage dealers and you want to follow up and finish other people. Yeah, I would say Jhin is a really good champion right now. Now coming to Draven. Honestly, I don't have much to say other than that if you're good with him, he is S+ tier. This guy is a hard carry if you're good with him. But if you're not, I wouldn't touch him. Honestly, it's hard to play him because of his axe mechanic. But once you get a feeling for him, I would bump this guy up to S tier for sure. I ban him personally because I hate playing against good Dravens, especially as a Vayne main. This guy bullies you out of lane, and once you get snowballing, it's very hard to come back. So you can use that either for your advantage, or if it's a disadvantage playing hyper carries, ban him or be sure to play very passively against him. And the last champion on the A tier of my tier list is Jinx. Why is she not higher? Some people might say she's a hyper carry. Well, if you play against assassins and extremely mobile champions, your life will be awful. But if you can get into the reset zone with this champion, wow, it's crazy. Like, you can carry games so hard with her when you get the resets. But that's the condition. I shouldn't say when, it's if you can get the resets. If you can get them, this champion is cracked. But if not, you're a sitting duck. So be sure to have a good feeling about spacing and shit like that. Okay, now let's come to the B tier. These are champions that are generally good. I think they're always good ADCs in SoloQ. But their stats at the moment or itemization is not ideal compared to other champs on here. Ezreal has always been great and he is known for his mid-game spike. But if you fall behind early, it's pretty annoying to play him because you don't do much damage. When you're ahead in the mid-game, you take over. This champion is designed for the mid-game. So in mid-game, when you're like at 2 items, let's go. This is the go time for this champ. But if you don't have that, like according to the game time, you feel useless. So know that. And now, oh my dear darling, my second most favorite champion, Kai'Sa. I think I can make her work because I love this champion and I play her so much, but her stats are not there, really. Like, she doesn't have the damage that she used to have, and of course her skill set will always be good. This champion has immense synergies with CC champs and immense self peel and carry potential, but compared to other champions on this tier list, her damage is lacking because of the Q nerfs. And once Riot fixes that, she will bump up to S again. I'm sure about that because she feels nice in the right games. And my last champion on here for people that want to grind it out in the last part of this ranked season is Tristana. This champion is good for all-ins, honestly, and for resets again. So if you can get the all-ins, the kills, get snowballing, get the resets, you are a hi-fi champion. But if not, I mean, your mid-game kind of stalls because you don't have much power in the mid-game because of your item path, build path. You're strong at 1 item. At 2, you're pretty good, but you come online again at 3 items. So there's this little like lull phase in the mid-game that you need to be aware of. But early on, she's really strong, and the later the game goes, she becomes even stronger. Make use of resets, and it's free elo. Yeah. All right, that's it from my perspective of a D1 SoloQ ADC champions that I would use to gain maximum elo in the last part of the season. And try it out. Let me know if you like the champions. This is my first video ever, so I don't know, there's a lot of improvements to be made, I know that, but be sure to give me some comments and input, how you like those champions, what I could implement in my videos. This is very basic stuff, but yeah, the more I get used to this, the more the content will improve, and I'm sure to be of best help for my fellow sadistic ADC mains that love to get rolled over in SoloQ by fed top lanes and mid lanes. Man, ADC is a crazy position, so be sure to keep your mental out there. Well, that's it for me today. See you in the next one. Bye bye.